You're probably wondering what you're watching. Well, these are friendly matches that I, along with some friends at the time, recorded together. These VODs are almost 8 years old now, and the idea of uploading them was to review them later on. This is a pretty common tactic in fighting games, because VOD reviewing lets you more easily spot mistakes that you wouldn't have been able to spot in the heat of the moment, so you can correct your play for the next
That was
match.
a nice down aerial. Another nice down aerial. Side B.
I have at least a couple of other videos just like these on this very channel, and if you couldn't tell already, I took Smash very seriously. At the time, this was my main game, and I would play it religiously with my buddies after class. To be honest, I wasn't really that good at the game, but I had a drive to improve. Plus, two of my friends were actually really nice at the game. On our first couple of locals, I vividly remember consistently losing my first games, but my buddies would definitely be in top 8. And another friend, let's call him Joe, would almost always make top 3. During that time, I was a broke college student, working part-time at my local pizza joint. But when I wasn't busy, I was almost always hanging out with the boys, sharing a couple of cold ones while doing the Spacies matchup for the 3000th time. Needless to say, Melee was a big part of my life, and I genuinely believed that one day we were going to make it big. I wasn't as good as a player, but I could do other things to try and get our name out there. And I won't lie, a certain streamer was popping off recently from the Smash community and getting tons of views, and that only incentivized me to try as well. I was doing this as a hobby. However, I put a little too much on my plate. I was already busy with school, studying for my networking classes, and with my part-time job at the pizzeria, I had little to no time for content creation. So my genius idea was to create STM, or South Texas Melee, a collective channel that me and my buds would manage and post future content regarding Smash. Now, some of you smart cookies out there can already tell where this is going, but hold your horses a minute. I've already explained that I wasn't really all that much to write home about as a player. However, what I didn't tell you was how it all began. You see, it wasn't always that way. Once upon a time, believe it or not, I was the best player. Of course, that was only me versus my close friends and family. Then Smash Bros. For the 3DS and the Wii U came out and everything changed. Gamers were ecstatic, tears were shed, and high schools across America changed overnight. And if you were anyone worth your gamer salt, you had that thing packed with you 24/7, ready to open a can of whoop ass on any poor soul who dared challenge you. Of course, I reigned supreme. 3DS or Wii U, no one stood a chance. And let me be the first to admit, I might have been an insufferable winner because y'all remember Joe? Well, Joe must have not liked me beating his ass all the time because this dude, I kid you not, watched a bunch of guides on Pikachu, played over 1,000 Wi-Fi matches over the course of a month, and then challenged me again. I thought nothing of it, to be honest. Gaming was just a fun hobby for me that I spent quite a lot of free time on. But that day, I was so thoroughly trounced that I didn't recover for years. I was knocked off my high horse, and it was my previously weak friend Joe that did me in. I was bamboozled, flabbergasted, dismayed. There isn't enough words in the dictionary to define my shame and disbelief in that moment. My ego was disintegrated into a fine dust. I wasn't a very confident kid to begin with. I mean, I got along well enough, but video games were my thing, and I was knocked clean out. There was even some matches in there where I barely took a stock. Joe got so good at Smash out of spite, and honestly, I gotta respect it. But then, this kid has the audacity to say Smash 4 is not all that difficult or competitive at all, and that the real challenge lies in previous Smash titles like Melee, or that one fan game. I'm over here struggling to keep up, but I don't want to lose gamer cred and totally make up some lie about how I'm totally a wave dash pro, but in reality, I have no idea what this means. Joel calls my bluff out and says, "I'll bring the goods," as if we're dealing methamphetamines or something on the school courtyard, and considering Nintendo's crackdown on Project M, it was basically illegal contraband at that time. And Nintendo would be right, because only the hardcore fiends would go to these lengths to acquire their next hit. So, the stage was set. Project M, my house, only the best players of my year. This was nothing new. I would commonly invite schoolmates over to assert dominance in video games, but that day was very divisive. Most stuck with Smash 4, saying Project M was too clunky, and then One friend mentioned having a copy of Melee, and that was curtains. We played Project M for exactly 1 day before basically begging that one friend for his copy of Melee, and we never looked back. Only 4 of us remained, including myself, Joe, Alex, and George. These are obviously not their real names. And just naturally over time, we played more and more, then eventually we just forgot about all other games and we only played Melee. Before we knew it, we had graduated high school, and we are still meeting up often to play some Melee.
Now, the rankings between us would usually be Joe in first, Alex in second, me in third, and George in fourth. However, competition was fierce, and rankings would change constantly. Competitive gaming is a completely different world than what I was used to. It's absolutely not the same as casual gaming. Egos are on the line. Money matches are rampant. The shit talk flows like waterfalls. It's a really intense atmosphere, and as much as I hate to admit it, constantly being at the bottom of the barrel, skill-wise, was really messing with me. And subconsciously, I knew the battle was already lost because of my massive insecurities. But hindsight is 20/20, as they say, and I wear heavy prescription lenses. So, I threw the idea of STM around as my idea to put in a little bit more effort, thinking that if I work harder than the others, I would improve quicker. Looking back on it, not everyone was as excited as I was to start a YouTube channel for Melee. But I felt that if I could grow STM, we would be able to make a break into the esports scene as a group. I foolishly believed that this is what we all wanted, not realizing that some of us were really just hanging out with the boys. I had so many ideas and plans for STM, and one of those plans was hosting our own tournaments. The thing about hosting video game tournaments that no one tells you is that they require a lot of time and money, and that's not even counting the absolute nightmare that logistics can be. I was tasked with all of this as a young 20-year-old dumbass, and for the sake of getting our name out there to the win, I did all the motions. I somehow got extremely lucky, and thanks to one of my friend's connections, I'm able to secure his uncle's video game and collectibles shop as the venue for the event. Now, some context. We're a small city, so we only have one game shop that hosts events consistently, and the only problem was that it was a long drive to their venue, and it was usually dirty and unclean. But the venue I managed to secure, free of charge, just so happens to be only 5 minutes away, making it a closer option for people living on the other side of town. So far, so good. Everything came out perfect actually. We secured a clean venue, we spread the word, and I invested $100 of my own pocket to the prize pool as the first place prize. After all is said and done, there's only one problem. On the day of the tournament, it just so happens that I am scheduled to work the night shift at the pizzeria. We can't reschedule. I already set the date out online, foolishly, before the work schedules themselves updated on Sunday. A day I usually have off had me booked working instead. And I can't call in sick. I'm already on thin ice as it is, and the manager has access to my social media. I do the only thing I can do. I sacrifice myself to my fate, but I make sure I leave my pals in charge of running the tournament while I'm gone. After all, I did all the difficult parts. All that's left is to run a bracket with the players that show up and have a good time. Oh, how naive I was. After begging my manager to let me out early, I finally made it to the event. I show up as the event was ending with free pizza and a huge dessert cookie from the pizzeria, and the vibes are good. I get told I don't have to pay out because there was no tournament, but everyone played friendlies instead and had fun. So I thought, hey, no harm, no fall, and called it a night. I wake up next morning to my phone absolutely blowing up with notifications from Facebook, iMessage, YouTube, absolutely anywhere STM is mentioned, where the Smash community unanimously agrees that the only good thing about my dogshit tourney was that there was free pizza and a cookie brownie at the end. I mean, I'm talking about people that were not even at the event were talking about it. It was absolutely insane. To make matters worse, the owner of the store where the event was hosted basically left all the responsibility at my feet, which is fair, but come on, I was 20, and this was my first attempt at hosting a tournament. What did anyone seriously expect? I did my best with what I had, and even left my friends in charge, in hopes that it would be a successful turnout. It was no use. My name was being used for jokes, memes, and the sort, and to be honest, I felt personally attacked. I've done nothing wrong to these people. In fact, I only tried to help by increasing the number of people interested in Smash tournaments for our city. We used to only have one local tournament a week, and I wanted to change that, but instead, I was just being laughed at. I still remember the suffocating feeling of those negative troll messages. Absolutely no one was backing me up too. Not Joe, or Alex, or George. Just me.
and a tsunami of hate comments. I went absolutely livid. How dare these nerds talk so much shit behind the screen so confidently? Most of the negative comments were from people that were not even there. But the comments that stung the most were the ones I did get from people who were there. These people, face to face, said to me everything was fine, but online, they sung a different tune and just threw me under the bus. Needless to say, I completely crashed out, and I publicly started shit talking absolutely everybody. Smash players smell like shit, your venue is dirty. At least I tried to host something unlike you lazy ungrateful nerds. You know, all the classics. Eventually, I got so out of pocket that both store owners decided to ban me from ever setting foot inside any of their stores ever again. And that's how, 7 years ago, I was banned from my locals. To be honest, this was a huge eye-opener at the time. It made me conscious of the people I hung around with and showed me how quickly things can spiral out of control, especially online. In the present day, one store is no longer around, and I'm unbanned from the other one simply due to the fact that everyone forgot. I still sometimes go back there to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Or hop onto arcade machines. Looking back on this incident, it's really obvious that this was never going to work, and the YouTube channel was more so my idea. And to be honest here, I feel like subconsciously, that's what I wanted all along, and I just didn't realize it at the time. I was always making YouTube videos, even as young as 12 years old, but because of life getting in the way, I always end up terminating the channels. I'm usually really slow when it comes to picking up social cues, including my own. But you know what they say, hindsight is 20/20, and I wear very heavy prescription lenses.